You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV. You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Welcome to another episode of The Forecast. I am your host, King Doc. Yeah, that's right. He's to the car. He lucky he showed up on time. Because him and I was finna tear this shit up. Oh, he made me. I'm gonna give him.
Hey, man. Matter of fact, go and take off tonight. You can put your shoes, put the feet up. Yeah.
He did not. This thing. Hey, it would have been ugly. Go ahead, man.
It would have been off the rails, but it's okay.
Hey, welcome episode of The Forecast. It's the 3-cast right now. We'll see what there he is. There go A-Trap right there. But glad to be on again with you all tonight with another great episode. I was rushing a little bit, but definitely glad to see everybody, see you guys.
Yeah, we see he still got his work clothes on, y'all.
Yeah, he still got his work. What's going on with your work
clothes? Got his school clothes on.
We'll pull my shirt out over here.
You know you don't play in them school clothes. You put your fake clothes on.
I wish you would get them corduroys dirty. I wish you would.
I wish you would. All right, but
come home and climbing that tree in them good Levi's. Come on now.
Right. Tonight we'll be reviewing Surrounded. It is a film. It's available on Amazon, YouTube, MGM Plus, wherever the hell that is. A free trial, baby. Free trial. You know how it works. I watched it last night and canceled it last night. You know, that's how you do it.
That's how you do
it.
You
don't have Prime?
It was free on Prime.
Yeah. No, I don't have Prime.
It's a tax write-off. You do this for a living.
You don't want to tell them how to do it.
Hey, I got Disney Plus. I got Peacock. I'm not getting Prime.
If you got Google money, you could have bought it.
Yeah. But I mean, y'all all right, folks. I didn't pay for it at all.
Yeah,
it's free trial. It's called free.
All right. It's supposed to be saved.
Hey, you want to know what else I'll be doing?
Man. I want to be saved. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the right one. Which one is that one?
That's a different one, but
that's a different one. That's different.
Yeah, that's Captain Sable right there.
I'm sorry, that's Captain Stevens. My bad.
But let's so Surrounded, starring Letitia Wright. She's was on the sister on Black Panther.
Letitia Wright.
Letitia Wright, excuse me. I don't have my
don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about
it. Good. It's all right, Coach. Let's go with it.
Our regular viewers are right. They not ripping that out.
They're not surprised at all. Yeah. You've been watching it all.
In fact, it's been a while, so they probably are like, "Okay, he back, y'all."
But let's go around the room real quick, see how everybody's doing. A-Trap coming through. How you doing?
Always good, man. Always good.
He must be out of popcorn in the theater. He quiet over there. So y'all a lot of jujubes over there. Goobers, gobstoppers.
Gobstoppers.
You remember those?
All right, Willy Wonka. Oh gosh.
Doc, man, in rare form. How you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm fantastic. But I'm trying to figure out. So I'm informed that I'm in. I'm trying to figure out what Wilkes got in his cup because Wilkes is on. He turned today, as the young folks say. So I need to know what's in his cup.
No, actually, because in honor of this Western that we're watching,
whiskey.
Here's the funny thing. Since this is in 1870, since it's kind of originating out of New Mexico, I am drinking a whiskey that is originating out of New Mexico. It's called Big Nose Kate. She was a girlfriend to Doc Holliday.
Really?
And, so I figured I will have some of this Western whiskey while we talk Western business. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Big Nose Kate. I knew you were gonna go there. When you said
of
New
course.
Mexico, I knew you were going Big Nose Kate.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Let's go, baby. I'm with it.
Wilkes, I know you kind of already said how you feeling.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing all right. Yeah, I got head start.
Big Nose Cake got him right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm in it, baby.
Yeah. That's that Saturday night whiskey. Mama, daddy coming home.
Yeah.
Katie bought a door.
It's gonna be a long one tonight, baby.
But, Doc, go ahead and give us a description.
Before we do that, we got somebody in the building that we hadn't had in a while, and that's Rucker Park. So we gotta stop and pay and face east and pay homage to Rucker Park and Wonga. Wonga ain't nobody like Wonga, homeboy. Wonga in the building early. Wonga was in before y'all was in. Hell, at 8:24. Shit.
Oh, we're ready to go.
And then we got somebody on called Grape. And I ain't touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Hey, what's up, Kirby? All right, so Surrounded. Surrounded is a 2023 American Western drama film in which former Buffalo soldier Mo Washington, played by Letitia Wright, travels west to lay claim on a gold mine. After her stagecoach is ambushed, Mo is tasked with holding a dangerous outlaw captive and must survive the day when the bandits gang tries to free him. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes. It premiered at the Sun Valley Film Festival April 2nd of last year, 2023, and was released digitally June 20th, 2023 by Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MGM. So they released it digitally, so I suppose that means it was straight to Netflix or streaming, basically. No theater time. But MGM, that's that line, when you see that line roaring at the beginning, that's how you know that's them folks. So that's what we have. And as being mentioned, Letitia Wright of Black Panther fame was the lead character. You had the great late Michael Kenneth Williams in the building as well. Yeah, rest in power. That's what we say now. And a couple of nice performances in here, which we'll get into a little later.
Yeah. And I want to go to Wilkes real quick because he mentioned something to me today that I was not aware of. It's loosely based on something that you mentioned.
And A-Trap may already know, but so Kathy Williams is the first documented African-American female soldier, U.S. Army. She is in the history books. She is definitely noted. And here's the funny thing, though. I noticed that my cousin on my dad's side down in Houston, she was going to the Buffalo Soldier Museum. And I asked her to let me know if they reference or speak of her at the museum. So I'm curious to see if she made it today and got down there and just to see if she's even mentioned. But yeah, she is the first documented female soldier in U.S. history. And not only just a U.S. soldier, there were some other ranks or positions that she held. So, she did that. And then it's funny because I'd like to see kind of more about what happened because she actually died in the territory of Colorado. She settled in the state of Colorado. So I'm just curious if there's any kind of information there. I didn't chase that rabbit hole, but I was just kind of curious from the story. I'm also wondering if anybody noticed any spiritual overtones in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I felt like there were some heavy spiritual overtones
right off the bat
while watching this. So, but yeah, no, interesting story, and I didn't notice this, but they never called her full name. Her full name was Eunice Moses Washington. Now, ironically, like I said, there's some spiritual overtones, but what is it? How is the coincidence that her name is Moses, and yet you're to me? I know this is probably just my thoughts. I mean, does that tree represent the burning bush? I mean, no snow really fell on that ground. I mean, it fell around that hollow ground. And, yet she became the mouthpiece of, like she said, I'm sure Doc caught this. We were free, but we had no place to be free.
Boy.
Yeah, man.
Boy.
I was like,
Man.
whoa.
Hey. Hey, they in fact, it was early on when this was said, and I put it in my final thoughts, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. Just wait to my final thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit
I
back
don't want to disturb it.
But no, you were right. It came off at the beginning, and there's this song that was played that I was trying to find as well. That was, I mean, when I say had me a little misty eyed, man, it was this wailing song, man, that they played early on in this thing. And I'm trying to find the name of it because I had to immediately Google it and send it to myself.
You talking about the one at the very end?
No, at the beginning. It was just, I
was trying to find the one at the end, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't find the one at the end either. I even Shazammed that one. I couldn't find it.
I got
it's been like an unreleased.
It's called, and it being maybe at the end we'll try to we'll leave with this, man. If you can find this before then, it's called "Calling Me Home" with Francisco Teresi by Rhiannon Giddens. And man, when I say, I mean, you can just see the name "Calling Me Home." I mean, I'm telling you right this, if they play this at a funeral, oh, you can forget it. It ain't, it's over. I mean, ain't nobody gonna recover. It's that powerful, man. It's wailing, man. It's like, so you remember back in the day, man, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it, man, because I'm thinking about slavery times and when they were wail, man.
Oh yeah.
And the pain that evokes in you, but at the same time, it was power for them. No. You follow what I'm saying? They was calling something that was deep inside of them out and up. You follow me? That's just not readily available that they had to get through. They had to call up to get through what they was getting through, man.
To your point, she even said at one point we had to be grateful for our empty bellies. We had to be grateful for those lashes.
Yeah, man.
So it was one of those things where that's why it's hard for me to not hard for me, but that's why it blows my mind and of course social media is the worst place. But when I see people say, "Oh, God doesn't exist," you don't know what that person's been through.
Yeah, that's right. And
you don't know what that person. How you gonna tell that person God don't exist? You don't know what that person been through.
Hey, Will, they can say what they want to say. See, I'm gonna tell you like this, and y'all have heard me say this on this show before. A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument. I have seen for myself. I have experienced for myself. You can't nobody tell me nothing. See, I can't prove it to you.
Yeah,
I can't explain it to you, but I can't explain how American Airlines jet take off either and keep us in the air. But I get on that sucker every time I need to go somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, if you just think of childbirth, if you think of how a child is formed from the time that child is birthed, that's a miracle alone by itself.
Right. Exactly.
Do we fail to give
it's the small things like that.
God, the glory on how all that even happened.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you, man. So okay, this hadn't come up in a few episodes or so, but hey, we review movies for an excuse to have a conversation, okay?
Right.
And that's what it is. So if you've tuned in and you are surprised by the conversation because it don't sound like we talking about no westerns, let me just understand something. That's a trick to get you in here so we can have a conversation.
Let me learn you something real quick.
Yeah. So you talk about, you want to question the God, right? So think about the foods that mimic what they take care of. A walnut, if you look at it, it look like a brain. That is a brain food. And the list goes on and on and on and on. But for the sake of time, we won't get into it. Slice open an orange and just look at it. You think
all those neural, look like nerves. Yeah. This movie definitely had some heavy spiritual overtones when I watched it. I had never heard of it. The great suggestion. But I was excited to see what everybody's thinking about it, because it was just one of those movies. When I watched it, I was like, "There's just too many spiritual overtones."
Even the cross was like in every scene. And I was just thinking, lead me to the cross.
Yeah,
I mean, because she was
at the end, and
she
that's
would
where
always look at it.
That's where your treasure is, baby, at the cross.
Yeah. At the
Go
cross,
kneel at
the cross.
Where we
I
first.
Somebody need to be clapping our feet. That go with it.
Hey, that's on page 35 in that red hymnal book.
That's go with it. Clapping our feet,
man.
A-Trap, initial thoughts, join in on what we saying.
Well, I kind of knew about the lady, as Will said, history is my thing. But watching this, I knew it was going to be a powerful movie simply because of the way it began. What I picked up on immediately, it was a dual in introduction. Introduction to you as a Black person, first and foremost, and how how they minimalize us, and even more. The next step is how they didn't even take the time to identify this as being a woman. They identified her as a boy. So she's being doubly disrespected simultaneously without any effort, and that's what I really appreciated about her part. She and I believe this is what's missing today. We get so caught up in our own mission and we stop looking at the actual mission. And the actual mission is to not be dehumanized.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just want to say this real quick about the opening. Did anybody notice the transition from the darkness into the light? It went from the darkness as she walked from the church through the darkness and what was going on around her. And even then, the opening was she was surrounded. She was surrounded by people being thrown into slave buggies. She was, or maybe prison buggies, whatever. But she was surrounded by somebody, being drugged by a horse. But then all of a sudden, she steps into the light, and then there's I
think you're right. That was, I believe, that was a slave buggy, simply because the 14th Amendment has the but clause.
Yeah, okay.
You can't be enslaved unless you violate the law. Remember, those people
that's
were.
What I thought.
So
that's what I thought. I wasn't really sure. I appreciate that, because I wasn't sure 100% on that. But just that transition from the darkness into the light, and then her finding her way into the bar. But I don't want to, step ahead. But I just thought I'd point that out.
Good. And I think too, the whole movie, she was surrounded by people that didn't look like her. Until when she ran into Michael K. Williams, and it was still surrounded by people that that wasn't like her.
That wasn't
which we'll get to that part.
Girl, what you doing out here?
Right. Yeah. And then he talking about, my daughter, if she was out here, that's when he got her. When he talked about, if you my daughter, all that.
That's a lost treasure, man. They say only the good die young.
Yeah. Oh man.
So man, we gonna be around for a while, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. 1870 Bushwick Gulch.
Bushwick Bill, you say?
No.
Huh?
What do you mean? Oh man, come on, man. All right, get on board. What's going on? We done.
Your mind playing tricks on you, man. The last stop on the edge of the Wild West, 5 years after the Civil War ended. And like we've been talking, she kind of opens up in prayer, talking about being free, but nowhere to go, no place to be free. Help me reach my piece of the promised land. I mean, those quotes right there, I think really set the tone for the movie. Really set the tone for the movie.
We've talked about before about how, there's an unspoken language in our community, and that we can be in a room full of people, right? It can be a mixed bag of people, right? All races, cultures, creeds, etc. And something can go down, and all the Black folks in the room on the same page, and we looking at each other, and
Yeah.
everybody else is colluding, and we ain't saying nothing. We just see something. So same thing in these in some of these movies that we watch. You know, we pick up something different. You know, which is why think about this, man. Think about how few black critics there are in Hollywood and have been. You know, and you know, and I'm renowned critics, you know, not the Siskel and Eberts and all those kind of things. And just think about the different perspective that may have been seen on movies and which could have shaped Hollywood and shaped cinema and movie making and pushed in a different direction.
Yeah. All right. So she's we kind of already talked, but she's going to Colorado. She has going forward a little bit, she has a plot of land and she has actual paperwork to prove that she has it. So that's where she's going. Immediately when she got on that stagecoach, I was like, I said, what type of BS about to happen on this trip? Because you know it ain't gonna be no smooth trip. You know it ain't gonna be. She could get there safe.
Couldn't even get on with the passage she paid. She had to sit in the spot where the luggage supposed to go in the back.
In the back.
Yeah, the dude couldn't even read. You trying to ask me for papers? Well, get out of here, man.
Right. So she's she had to give her gun up. So when she's getting on this stagecoach, what are you guys thinking is going to happen next? Because I don't think it showed in the preview kind of what was going to happen. So A-Trap, I'll go to you first.
Well, you know, you knew it was a setup to begin with. You know, it was as Dog just stated, we're looking at a situation to whereas they're giving you a situation to whereas the history continues to repeat itself. This is the same Jim Crow. This is pre-Jim Crow, but they start with the Jim Crow. It also identifies our place in history, no matter what corner of this country you're on, border to border, coast to coast. And you knew something was about to happen simply because there's, you know, no matter how wicked the world is, you will always find an ally. And it's, again, as Doc mentioned, even though he wasn't from our culture, you have people who are good people in this world. No matter what phase of life you're in, good people connect. You know, it's a head nod, it's an eye connection. It's a, hey, I can trust that person. And he let her know without saying a word. He connected with her and said, you know, and realized you, sir, are a peasant. Yeah. This is an honorable person. But I'm not going to cause a ruckus. I'll let you have it in private. And this is something that is lost in culture today. I'll check you when necessary, but we're going to move forward just to get the trip going.
Yeah. Yep. That was exactly one of my thoughts. You know, there was a couple of good people, and it was a microcosm of what we experience in today's society. You always got a couple that's going to rock with you. You know, they may not speak up about it.
Right.
You know, but they rock with you, you know, and he proved that. A couple of folks in there did.
Yeah. Wilkes, you want to add anything?
Yeah. I mean, of course, like you said, I was just kind of curious how it was going to start out. I expected the lady that was in there. I thought she was going to be a little bit more harder than what she was, but she kind of grazed the edge a bit. But like you said, you had Wheeler that came in, and Wheeler kind of took to her, or I think he knew she was probably a woman, but I felt like, you know, he just kind of, you know, did his thing and let her be. We're just trying to get somewhere, you know. So, and even the guy that he said, like, yeah, she paid, you know, a while back to get a ride on the stagecoach. So, damn, if I paid, why are you still grilling me, you know?
Right.
And even the significance of the chains that the shackles when he dropped them on
the ground.
I mean, that was a moment within itself, you know.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, and I was like, what y'all finna do with this?
Right.
Yeah, and I so being asked, you know, what did we think was going to happen when they took off in the stagecoach? I thought they would have trouble, but I was really thinking it was going to be with some, you know, native indigenous people.
That's what I thought.
You know, but back then, that was your risk, you know. So I didn't know if, you know, she was gonna, you know, the people who had been down in me and not taking care of me, if I was gonna be the hero to them. So it went somewhere where I didn't necessarily anticipate that it was going. Right. But I knew it would be some trouble, but I thought it was, like I said, going to be indigenous people.
Right. Because I thought for a minute that they were going to have her help defend the stagecoach, like throw her a gun or something. But
yeah, me too. That's what I was looking for. That's exactly.
And even when the whole jacking happened, they were like, well, at least they're not Comanches or something. They said something to that effect. At least they're not Native Americans, whatever term they use. But they were basically saying it would be worse if it was them.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure,
so
because they
it's-
wouldn't have asked no questions. They'd have been taking scalps.
Yeah, you would have been dead. Yeah, you would have been dead.
yeah.
So that's
So
we
did he
mentioned throwing her a gun. The reason why that's the case is because they took her gun when she got on the coach, and they even talked about that, and like, dang, it's a lot of notches in this gun, and this is a nice piece of weaponry you got here, and whatnot. So that was a significant piece. Her gun, they were setting up right then. She knew what to do with it,
Right. She
that's why.
this wasn't a mistake that she had this gun.
I love that he kept saying, "You're gonna need this for the rattlesnakes."
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure that was not the rattlesnakes he was talking about.
And I think that's how he was able to identify her.
Yeah.
He identified her as a soldier because of the weapon that she had.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Because the Remington at that time, I mean, the Remington was a military grade issued weapon. Remington was big. I mean, it's still big now, but yeah, it was definitely a big revolver then.
Yeah, and she tried to play it out by saying, "I just needed something I could handle."
Yeah.
Right.
He
But he knew.
Yeah. Military issue. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Now, there was another gospel song, "Father, I Stretch My Hand," because she offered, give me your hand. She was like, "Oh, it's a nigger hand. I can't touch it." And she ends up going down into the canyon. All you had to do was take her hand, and she would have helped.
Well, she did, but she didn't want to jump. So last minute.
Yeah, man.
That always reminds me
second guessing.
That Doc and H-Rap may remember this, maybe not, but of course, for me, it was reruns. But that always reminded me of that episode of the Jeffersons where that man didn't want CPR, even though George saved his life. He's like, "Oh, you should have let me die."
Let me die.
I was like, "Man, come on."
At the racquetball club.
Yeah. He had he was having a heart attack or something like that.
You rather die.
He said he'd rather die than have a black person save his life.
He didn't say black person.
No, he didn't say. Oh, he didn't say black person already.
He didn't say black person.
He really did.
So can we talk about the view, like the shots in this entire film? You got to watch it just for that, and especially the sunrise and the sun setting views and the mountains, obviously in New Mexico.
That was on purpose.
I felt like that was a major part of this film that added that depth to it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's God in his majestic ways in that moment. Everything is untouched, covered in snow. It's at that moment, man is not trying to populate that portion of the area. I think it's just one of those things where it's raw nature within itself. Yeah. And it's like one of those moments where you just say, this is what God has put on a canvas, really. I think that the earth is God's canvas, his molding table. And it's just one of those things where it's just, you take in all that awe. I mean, even when Doc, I think he made a comment when he, I can't really remember, but he was saying he were with the fishes or with the sharks. And it was just kind of like one of those things, and seeing the stingrays, in their natural habitat,
right.
At that moment, it's just like, man, like this is amazing. Something about that just brings a peace or a calming. I'm sure,
Yeah.
So
that with the scenery and whatnot, what it shows you is that the most beautiful things in life can be the most dangerous things in life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because as beautiful as that was a dangerous place. Think about it. Some of the most beautiful insects are the most poisonous. Some of the most beautiful flowers are the most poisonous.
Right.
So again, that's what it said to me. It's like, man, as beautiful as this place is, it'll kill you. Most folks couldn't survive it, a day, let alone a journey like that,
Yeah, I mean, the thing that kept coming to my mind was just, man, that cold is gonna set in. That cold is gonna set in, man. You don't have enough fire.
I'm surprised it didn't come into play sooner than it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and they were, short sleeves. I mean, it wasn't like they had a lot of them had, a full.
Yeah, they weren't dressed for.
Yeah, so that was an interesting point. So they end up getting Tommy Walsh was the person, kind of the maybe ringleader, if you will, of the Jackers, and he didn't have to introduce himself. He was one of those, oh wow, this is Jimmy Ross, the bank robber. Like, everybody knew who he was, and it wasn't like, oh, okay, we need to figure out who this is. And so that's kind of how his character got introduced. And I think, you kind of figured, okay, it's going to be him and her at some point, because they were kind of probably the most dominant or most aggressive.
Shit. If Tom Brady walked up in his football uniform, you wouldn't have to guess who the hell he was either. This is a robber walking up to rob you in his uniform. Yeah, you know who the hell he is.
Not saying much.
I'm saying it was more than one of them.
He wasn't set up no hot dog stand on the side of the road trying to.
Hot dog stand.
So he kind of comes on the scene. They're having to kind of fight their way through the situation. They end up somewhat winning until the carriage goes over the hill, and then it's every man against them for themselves, and that's how they cannot end up being in the middle of nowhere. The lady didn't want to take Mo's hand, and then you get to see how skilled of a marksman she is. She was just picking people off.
Yeah, she got a nice headshot there on one of the guys. I was like, dang.
That's what she said.
Just saying. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, since Ben ain't gonna give me one.
Hey, that got
A-Trap since being hating there.
Like, yeah, I do it myself.
So I'm gonna tell you something else about this show, okay? And what we do. That laughter is needed.
Oh,
that laughter, they said the word said the laughter is a medicine. I'm telling you right now, it's delivering.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. It's delivering.
See? Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Hey, if you're watching and you're getting a laugh, that's our job is done. Yeah. Maybe it's been a long day and you need to laugh on Monday.
Exactly.
But like when as I was watching this, I was looking at Moses, and she's just like a microcosm of everything she encompasses everything it is to be Black in America.
Yeah,
you must be able to adapt to each and every situation. You must be at your all-time best at all times. Otherwise, it could cost you your life. Another thing, as you mentioned, Wilkes, you got this lady who walked in the door, poo-pooing her.
Right.
I'm in a position to save your life. I'm also gonna do that. I'm spiritual enough. I'm in touch with myself. I love myself enough not to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gave up your life due to the hatred and the vitriol that has been poured into you and your soul.
Right.
You reject my help at the behest of your own life.
Right.
This is what we live every day.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we, and to A-Trap's point, and that's why I say you can't tell me to forget. Forget what? We're literally still dealing with this. What are you saying?
Right. Yeah. So Ben, remember what I said on Radio Row in the Super Bowl? We were talking about the Cowboys and what kind of coach they need and why. A-Trap just explained to you why they need a Black coach.
Yeah,
we've been used to. They need somebody who can navigate the waters that need to be navigated and still
right. Yeah, the chaos, the calamity, the situations in which these are uncharted waters for a Mike McCarthy. He doesn't know how to deal with this type of media pressure. He coached in Green Bay. He comes from San Francisco. he sat down in a barn for a couple of years. He's not prepared for the red hot lights of Dallas football.
Right.
You might be able to coach the Mavericks. You might even be able to coach the Texans, but you cannot coach in Los Angeles. You cannot coach in Chicago. You cannot coach in Dallas. You cannot coach in New York. And maybe even Philadelphia. I will put Philadelphia.
There you go.
I would get roasted.
But it's like, think about this, man. How many times when our mamas was riding and she had to hit them brakes and that arm go out like that?
Yeah.
So you know what, Doc? You're doing it wrong. They put it out before they hit the brakes.
My point is that she's securing something while she's navigating. It is in our DNA to be able to navigate and still care for, nurture, protect, connect. Been having to do it.
Yeah, because to Doc's point and to H-Rap's point, you're so busy trying to hate me. I'm just busy staying in my lane and still will nurture and take care of you and do what I can, because it's the value of life that I understand. You don't want to take my hand. You don't want to jump from this stage, coach. I don't want to see you perish, but if you're going to perish, I guess you're just going to perish.
Yeah. Acknowledge
that Mary is the God in me.
Right. That's it.
I don't have time. I don't have time to waste on the fact that you want to hate me or dislike me, or you don't want to be in the same room with me because of my skin color. I'm beyond that. I'm just trying to get somewhere and be peaceful. Leave me alone. Leave me to myself and let me cultivate. Let me grow and create something.
Right.
But
and kind of like A-Trap, like you said, it's she was seeing the bigger picture all along. Even when she was sitting down with Tommy Walt and basically talking about how he was like, yeah, it's just about the money. Like, we deserve this money. He was like, it's not just about the money. It's about what if I do this, what's inside my soul and how am I gonna feel about this? So she was looking at the big picture, really the whole movie. Even with the pain, when her paperwork ended up getting not visible, even with being shot at, I mean, she was still able to navigate those things.
I mean, they were setting up the movie long before, of course, when they got to the tree. But even at the tree, you could tell how she was surrounded. She just kept hearing these voices in the distance and gunshots over here. It was already shaping that moment around the tree, but keeping, her faith in focus, which was in the background. That cross was a symbol of her faith that was in the background. That camera never really moved from that visible faith.
Yeah.
The only time it really moved from the visible faith is when it got dark. But even then, there was still light at the tree.
Kick in.
Exactly. So in my mind, I'm like, man, is this tree a symbol of the burning bush? Because, I mean, is this hallowed ground? I mean, the snow never fell within the circle. It fell around the tree. There were times where they even focused on the tree and you would just see the background behind it. But that's just how I viewed it. I could be totally wrong, but that's just the way I watched the movie. Because
sound like you was on that peyote while you was watching it, because your ass saw a whole bunch of shit.
This man said peyote. I was like,
wow. Hey, Wilkes, you know what else I caught on that?
What's that?
Look at how many, we started off talking about it from a spiritual perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at how many different angles that tree presents as a person of African descent.
Oh,
absolutely. That tree is the beginning of life. It's the roots.
Right.
It grows life, right? That's the beginning of life.
Yep.
Everything starts at the tree. Then it could represent death, because the tree is where a lot of us end up dead, hanging from that very tree.
Right. He mentioned that.
Then you got the situation to, like you said, this is something. This tree brought her life. I'm pushing way in front of you.
Yeah.
Get towards the end, it brought her life because it was able to save her life, because she sat there at the tree and presented herself as an innocent person. Because I'm right back. That's why I when you mentioned the biblical aspect of the tree, it did. If everything else fell into place.
Yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, I couldn't miss it. It was just one of those things. Like, man, what is the focus about this tree? I mean, there were times where the camera would pan, and that tree was in focus. So there had to be some significant. I'd love to hear if the director ever did any notes about this movie. I couldn't find anything that really kind of went there. But man, I mean, maybe you don't need to. It's left to your own interpretation. But
yeah.
I
think that's the greatness of film and art. It's open to the interpretation of how you see it.
Yeah,
I think that makes a great film. If it's cut and dry and you know what it is in each moment, then I think that's, to me, that's dare I say, lazy or just basic.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Facebook user, you're tuning in on Facebook. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give Facebook authorization so we can see who you are. So I mean, Mo was not playing at all when Tommy was tied up, against the tree. He's trying to convince her, and he's trying to, you're not no different, and you're never gonna be free. And that's when I think that kind of the other side of her was like, nah, you're not gonna talk to me like this, white boy.
Right.
He just pimp slapped him.
Yeah.
That slap was great.
Backhand.
She unloaded the chamber on him too. And I said my note on that was I thought she killed him because that was work, the camera work, because they didn't show you him again. So we automatically started thinking, what are the repercussions of this? Because they had already talked about, if we come back and he's not alive, you're gonna have hell to pay, basically. Right. So they intentionally let you not know what had happened. Right. So I put my note. I said I thought she killed him. His fuck around and find out calibration was off. he thought he could go there. Yeah, he realized my calibration was off.
And that just shows how good of a shooter she was. Because she probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and all he hit was the tree and not him. And he thought he was dead. He thought he was in. He thought he was on the other side.
He was probably losing his mind. It was like, oh hell, I've been hit.
I've been talking too much.
Right.
Thank you for tuning in, Charles Reese. He says the life and death metaphor for the tree was fire.
Indeed. And then when we got to her shot, you have to be there.
Let me give a shout out. That's my cousin right there. 3 months apart, 3 months older than I am, exact age. So I really matter of fact, I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago, I believe, on a podcast, because I thought his insight would just be, he get it like that. So what's up, kinfolk?
But when you see her marksmanship, this is what what's the man name? The other soldier, the dude who left with the posse to go get Wheeling. Yeah. This is why he respects her as much. This is an indication of, look, just imagine. This is what I want you to understand. Well, I just want people to think about it if you ever go watch the movie, or as you have watched the movie. Again, this goes back to the strength of our community. This goes back to the importance of how powerful we are and how we must always use the momentum of memory. This is a woman. First of all, she's small.
Don't gloss over that, man. That's a big statement. He said the momentum of memory. That's something.
Yeah. So you got a woman, first and foremost, being passed off as a little boy. So she got to humble herself and not be the woman that she could be. So I'm gonna suppress my womanhood. And then as I suppress my womanhood, this allows me to be treated as a boy, even less respect than an actual woman. And so her marksmanship, her aptitude to adapt to any situation, this shows the power of Black women in itself. So this is what, this is why, I could speculate. I'm gonna speculate, but this is why this movie didn't go to the theater. You put this in front of 25, 30, 50 young Black women, people will lose their minds on how they adapt adept our women are at. As you stated, we our women are nursing their children. Our women are nursing our children. You mentioned holding our children back, being a human seatbelt, being a human safety net, being the savior at all times. This shows you how powerful Black women are. So this is one reason I believe it goes straight to DVD, because there's no way possible we want this to hit the streets. Hit the streets.
Absolutely.
And women are already the most educated people in the country. Now you're gonna show them that they got power, physical, mental, and spiritual power. Now, we're gonna put this on DVD. We're gonna put this way in the back.
Yeah.
In hopes that it never gets discovered.
And that's kind of like what I was saying, like to H-Rap's point. You're so busy hating me because of the color of my skin. You're so busy tied up in that. I'm just trying to get where I need to get. But guess what? We can all go together. And I don't mind. If I got to step up and take care of you because your raggedy ass is over here, got a shotgun blast to the leg, whatever. Yeah, it's like you too busy trying to hate, and I'm too busy just trying to grow what I need to grow. I'm too busy trying to nurture, and you're too busy trying to be jealous about what I'm doing. You're so worried about who I am that you can't even see in front of you.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to grow that kind bud. Leave me alone.
Let me grow my sticky icky, and then you can go about your business.
And I think, and there was only, to A-Trap's point, there was only
A-Trap has been awfully ticklish tonight, haven't you?
You retarded, man. I mean, I can't say retarded.
It's too late. Too late. And that's the second week in a row. Didn't last week we say something about being touched or something?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Touched. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
But it was only two women in the film. One was a weak woman that couldn't handle herself, and the other one was Mo, which was a strong woman. Yeah. So I think that was another parallel right there.
Think about the differences in those women. No, she was weak, but getting all the respect, getting all the love, getting all the the consideration.
Let me help you out, ma'am. Let me do this for you, ma'am.
Yeah.
What's good, y'all? Appreciate you for tuning in. So the guy that was on the stage, coach,
like that by herself too, wasn't it? For the time, which was weird, her making that trip by herself. That older white lady.
No, it's not. It's not strange, y'all. Think about it, man. Okay, you've heard it. You've heard it in court cases today. Well, what's the most powerful thing in the world? What's the thing that can't be defeated? A white woman's tears. So you got this older white woman on the stage, coach. We got 4 white men ready to die for her. She's safer than the rest of them out there. They ready to jump on a bullet for this woman.
Me and Ben done been in the same men's fellowship on Friday nights for years and years and years. So we have something else that is undefeated, but it's still women, ain't they tears? But it's still, I'm gonna be quiet, boy. I go somewhere with that.
Yeah, you're right about that one. You're right about
It'll get your ass took to court.
Undefeated. All time.
And still.
Ladies and gentlemen of the world.
And still. Play that again, man.
Hey, man. That was perfect timing on that one, man.
To this dyke.
I love it. That makes me so happy, dude.
What's up, Keisha? She said, go there, Doc.
Nah.
Yeah, you
don't want that trouble.
You don't want it.
Yeah.
She said, I'd love to hear it. She said, I love with uppercase. Yeah. So Mo ends up getting away. And they end up coming to a point where Tommy Walsh is a bounty on him. So quickly we learn that his own guys
100,000, right?
Wasn't that the number? First he said 40, and it was 120.
No, that was the amount of money that they had stole. The
bounty was 10.
Yeah, they had robbed the payroll that had just wasn't it the railroad payroll?
Payroll.
Yeah, I think it was the railroad. The railroad was one of the biggest employers at the time, so I think it was the railroad payroll that they had robbed, which is 120,000. But I thought that they said his bounty was, I can't remember, 10,000. I thought it was 10,000 or 100,000. One of the two.
It was 10. Yeah. I didn't know, but what I didn't understand is how she responsible. Like, how they gonna hang her if he comes up?
Like, why would you?
I mean, you acting surprised like it's supposed to be fair. It wasn't fair.
I know, but that
make no sense.
Fuck that. No, y'all, man, no ass nigga, no.
It wasn't gonna be fair. You think the hangings of our people was ever fair?
Hey, man, look, say, man, I ain't got nothing to do with this white boy. Y'all better get this. Okay? I ain't even finna hang my ass over this nigga. What the fuck y'all saying? Nah.
Hey, get this man.
You kidding?
So end up tying him to a tree, and like it's your responsibility. If he dies, on you.
Right. If he dies,
she almost lost. 5 minutes in. Okay, 5 minutes in, she was about to smoke that one.
Not only did he quote Rocky, he quoted Rocky 4 specifically.
If he dies, he dies.
I don't think we experts at this shit. Y'all got us twisted. Y'all tweaking in this, man.
Just saying, man.
It was 5 minutes in, and she was about to smoke him. So it almost didn't last. And I guess something in her, I don't know what made her think, okay, we need to move. I don't know. I mean, to me, I would have just stayed there because we'd be better off if he tied against a tree than you having to try to chase him, which that's what ended up happening.
Wait a minute. She was going to look for her Bible.
Yeah. That was the end game.
After because that's where the Colorado papers was for her land. Okay. So when the stagecoach went over the ravine and into the canyon, stuff went everywhere. So she needed to go find where the stagecoach was and see if her Bible was close. Right, she ended up finding the Bible. And she saw the paper. They got that whiskey that dude had spilled on it and destroyed it. So she knew it was worthless. And that's when she started crying.
Was she would have been better off just leaving him there and going to find it and coming back?
I doubt it because his men may have come in the meantime, or I think she was taking him because that was her best chance to still have him.
Still have it. Okay.
She wasn't going to. She wasn't. If she'd have found her papers intact, she would have got her papers and went right back to the tree, tied them back up, and still waited for him to come. She wasn't trying to go get nothing and leave. She was just trying to retrieve her stuff and come back. So she figured that was her best chance to, have everything the way it needed to be once it was all said and done.
Yeah. And so as soon as they get there, Comanches are there, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't deal with either one of y'all." Like they was ready to take care of both of them. And it was interesting. He said Buffalo soldiers killed our people. That's something to the effect of what he said. So I mean, they was ready to off both of them, and the movie would have been over. So obviously that couldn't have happened.
Yeah,
but he and the guy ends up running off, and kind of like he was doing a call for more people. So I thought, it's really about to go down.
But let's not forget though, when they were faced with those Comanches who were trying to loot the carriage that they came for, okay, and he starts speaking in Comanche or whatever the language is, right?
Right.
Cherokee, there you go, because that freaked her out.
Right.
Then later we found out she could speak it too.
Right.
Yeah. But she knew, but what they made plain was that it was more prominent and more typical for a black person or a Buffalo soldier, whatever, to know how to speak it than it was a white man to know how to speak it. Absolutely. So then nobody act surprised that she knew it, but but they was acting, well, how does a white man know where you learn Cherokee, right? So that gave him a bit of a connection. That was actually some material that helped him be able to try to finesse her later on down the road.
Right.
It's because of that information. Because I was married to a Cherokee, so then she's like, okay, well maybe he ain't like your average white dude. He a criminal, but maybe he a criminal for the right reason. Trying to get back because the white man killed my wife, so I ain't like the other white men. So that was good finesse material, But then the Comanches started debating between each other about whether we finna take them out or not.
What we about to do with them?
Yeah, and they started arguing with each other about what we finna do and what we not finna do. And one of them was like, "No, if you H-Rapper Wilkes, y'all might have seen this more specifically. but something about her made them not want to do it. I don't know if they picked up on her spirituality. I don't know. Something about her, my recollection, made them say, I ain't finna touch this.
Yeah, I think it was
She's obviously, you know, something we got to bounce.
That's why I'm just kind of curious about what she was saying to him, because it was obviously, because it was almost like the look in her face, and almost he had to look like, well, how can you trust these white men?
Yeah, wasn't she saying no more violence or something?
No more violence.
Right. So she knew, you know, so that messed with him a little bit. Whatever the hell she said, she changed the whole situation. Right. Think about it. I know Cherokee, and this is what I chose to say. Yeah. I didn't say I come in peace. I didn't come to say I just came to get my Bible. I didn't say, I just said no more violence, and I said it, aggressively, and I repeated it again.
Yeah, that whole diaspora was changed, and I think because since she was in that Indian War, because if you go back and look at that history of Kathy Williams, it talks about, you know, her being in that the Indian War while being in the enlisted. So she's probably like, I got out of this because I'm not slaughtering these natives. Right. I'm not going to keep killing these nationals, the people that are native to this land. So I think that was one of those things why she said, you know, no more violence. It was like, look, I don't want to off any more of you. This is wrong from the get-go. They told me I was doing something else, and that's not what I'm here for.
Right. So one of the reasons I got excited about this, of course, I started going back to the Harder They Fall, right? So as soon as I knew we were going to review this, I got excited all over again without even knowing where it was going to go. The bottom line is, I'm just a fan of Westerns, man. I really am. Do we get this from our daddies or our grandpas or our, you know what I'm saying, that love?
Because don't heard what I said.
Isn't it something inside of us that gives us a different feeling when a Western is coming? And I think it's an untapped genre that's out there, man, that they ain't doing enough of, man. Yeah. Seriously. And I think
for me, it's a Western with us in it. I mean, I'm not a Western
because we were there.
Yeah,
because we were there.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because we were there, and then there's so many untold stories of that.
Yeah, because look at, I mean, like you said, like to Doc's point, and I said this to Ben at work. I grew up watching Westerns with my mom. Bonanza and Rawhide,
the Rifleman, Alias Smith Jones. Hey, it wasn't nothing like eating Sunday dinner and falling asleep on some Westerns. Boy,
hey, come on, 39.
Better not been invented.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
Yeah, better not being invented. You go to sleep right after the Rifleman, and you wake up and Bonanza is about to go off.
Yeah, okay, it can go off. Yeah, that's how long you slept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we're gonna take this quick moment. We're starting a new trend of playing the trailer of what we're going to review next week at about this point of the show, and so let's give you what we're gonna review next. We'll be right back. All right. So next week, throwback edition car wash. So
it's gonna be amazing right there, man.
Come back and watch that review with
us. Make your feet want to move, don't it? Ain't nothing.
Who made that? Who made that song?
Rolls
Royce. Yeah, the Rolls Royce greatest hits. Oh, go get on that.
Yeah, get on that, please.
On that.
Yeah.
Man, so many different folks and cameos, and I mean, man, look at here. You know how many times the car wash?
Yeah.
How many times?
It's too good.
Bill Duke birthday today.
Right now, one of the greatest love songs ever written is "I Want to Get Next to You."
Man,
you kidding?
Oh, but the sea.
Look here, man.
Hot right there,
man. Hey, that was high notes and everything.
Hey, yeah, the soundtrack banging, man.
Yeah, that soundtrack is hot.
That whole soundtrack is.
I know that soundtrack. Yeah,
it'll stand by itself.
I'm in on that soundtrack.
He heard that soundtrack.
Yeah, the 1 of 5.
Yeah. That's another thing. They incorporate. Matter of fact, we starting the review of it already because the way they incorporated the radio station to be playing the music.
Yes.
I don't know if there's another soundtrack maybe Good Morning Vietnam, the one with Robin Williams. Maybe that's the only other one where they used a radio station to incorporate the soundtrack. Shit, man, that's fire as far as I'm concerned.
But yeah, Carl. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was the whole movie was a soundtrack because that's all you. Oh my god,
I know about that soundtrack.
It's something to this. We'll get it after the show.
Come on,
I never pay attention to the soundtrack.
Yeah, but he heard this soundtrack.
That one though, you got.
I own that.
Okay,
on vinyl. Yeah.
All right, so at the point of the Comanches, Tommy started to kind of look at Mo a little bit different because he had that look in his eye, like, man, dang, she really down on her luck. I mean, she really losing that. He kind of started to.
She cried about them papers. It messed with him a little bit, you know.
Yeah. He wasn't still like, I'm about to get over on you, but he was more so like, okay, she ain't as bad as I thought. They started to both look at each other like, okay, maybe they're not as bad.
I didn't look at it like that. Yeah, I know that soundtrack.
That's a lot to say right there.
Right, exactly. That's a one in a lifetime statement right there.
Hey, it's at least 3 of them. I know Claudine, I know that.
Yeah, Claudine.
And I know what's the name of the joint? When old boy was beating the chick about the fur coat. One man, Philip Michael Thomas and Irene Cara was in that. Sparkle. I know that soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. You gonna say something else?
But I don't think he empathized with it. I think he just saw it as a moment of weakness. Initially, it was my enemy. Like okay, I want a back map. Y'all forgot when y'all were talking about you don't know why the people who are known as Indians, excuse me if I've offended you.
The indigenous people,
indigenous people, why they were able to separate.
Same guy who said I was retarded earlier. Go ahead. He didn't worry about offending me, but go ahead.
That's what I said. I can't say reread no more. So yeah.
You gotta say retard.
Yeah, man, I can't say those things. But on the serious side, they left them alone because of what he said. Remember, when they grabbed him, put the knife to his neck, she ran up with the pistol drawn. They identified her as a Buffalo soldier.
Right.
What calmed them down was he told them he was her slave.
Right.
So that's how she got the respect.
True.
Because wait a minute, think about it.
You're right. True.
You got black people under the thumb of the white Americans. You got white people you got indigenous people. You got the indigenous people under the thumb made America. Indigenous people under the thumb of white Americans. You got black people under the thumb of white Americans, and this Buffalo soldier, person who has caused us severe harm, has one of them as her slave. And not only is he her slave, he got this dude on a leash.
Right.
Yeah.
But what did she do to get a white man on a leash?
Yeah.
So we don't want these problems.
Right.
But they did. The guy that was in the that was higher up, he shot down. I mean, I think they still were ready.
But if they were ready, but think about it, Ben.
They were arguing amongst themselves. One of them
think about it. You got a white man on a chain. Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. She got a white man on a chain.
Yeah, and you got to think about how indigenous people see things in such a spiritual way. They're not just going, this ain't giving.
Right.
See, you wasn't giving because we knew what giving was. This ain't giving. This giving setup. They fuck around and find out meter was strong. They knew.
Yeah, they do.
That's why they said, whoa.
Wait, hold on now.
We've been here before. This
shit, not only does he have him on the chain, he identified himself as incarcerated. So what did she got to make him be on the chain?
Right.
And this is why I believe, this is why I believe that they were quicker to retreat, because we don't want to deal with what she has in store for us. And then I believe, because he is a con man, he is up to nefarious activities. He's trying to curry favor with her. That's why he opens up with this story. I don't even believe he had a white, an indigenous wife, but hey, he opens up with this indigenous wife tale, this fable that he presents to her to lower her defense. Because now because think about it. He started talking to her about reparations. He started talking about revenge. That's the lower. That's the lower your defenses. And once I got your defenses, what first thing he did was, hey, let's do it. Let's do this dance. The moment she dropped her guard, well, he assumed that she completely dropped her guard. But I can assure you that people from our community at that point would never fully trust somebody from that community. So she, he assumed that I'm gonna keep lowering her defenses again, and when she's primed to attack, I'll destroy her.
Yeah, but this is what I don't understand. Somebody so shrewd like that, and calculated like that. When he's telling her about the money, because part of his finessing was, we're gonna split this. I know where this money is. We'll split it. $40,000 a piece. He knew, even if that figure was right, you knew he was gonna kill her, right? He was just trying to get them. Why give the wrong figure?
Right.
You could have told her more than the share. You could have told her, I'll give you 100,000 a piece. Why would you not just say 60,000 a piece?
But do we know what the figure actually was? Because that's
based on the reports, $120,000. They had kept saying that, and that's what cost him. And he didn't try to refute that.
Yeah, that's when Michael K. Williams came up and was like, "Yeah, it's 120."
But see, that's the thing.
He was trying to finesse her too.
Yeah, but why would? But the guy never did question that figure. As soon as he gave that figure, dude didn't argue that at all.
When a third party gives the wrong figure, you go with that figure, because then you know that the grift is in effect. Because you think it's that, and then I get to keep 140 to myself. I give you guys for this is why I'm saying he set the grift up immediately when he was basing everything on basically her. He was hoping she had hatred in her heart. Goes back to the spirituality that Will spoke on. He was hoping that greed controlled her as it did him. So what I'll do is set this grift in motion, play on your greed, and destroy you and take all the money.
Right.
Even to the very end, fast forwarding, they were gonna go their separate ways. And he ended up being the one to pull it, and she had to kill him. So even to the end, she wasn't gonna kill him unless she had to. She said, I'm gonna fight to the end. But we can go our separate ways and move on. I don't need the money. You can do what you need to do.
Right.
And it would have been over with. But I did want to get to the point where they had some real good dialogue between them. When he was basically trying to sell her, like, we can get this money, and she was talking about freedom, and they were talking about the different types of freedom. I felt like that was a powerful moment right there.
I thought Keenan Allen was going to show up and say, "Message." I mean, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. Because that was a message. That he wasn't talking. That wasn't a conversation between them, if you ask me. That's a conversation between Black America and what's going on. We talked about this. I did a special show with Mo and Jungle Brother yesterday, right? And we started talking about owning your own businesses and growing them versus taking the buyout. Because we've been trying, hey, do you want something worth $50 million or do you want $50 million? They were saying, don't always go for the buyout, because the buyout could end up in your destruction. This could lead to your demise, because holding something worth $50 million means that thing could potentially grow into $200 million or whatever, whatever the number is of that time.
Right.
Yeah. We as a community, we tend to, this is worth 50 million, but they're gonna give me 100 million. But what we have to do is do like Moses did. But what are the consequences of me taking that money?
Right.
Because now I have to watch for you into perpetuity. Yeah. This isn't just an ending situation. And as you just mentioned, the very end of the movie comes full circle with him running down on her, ready to do away with her. Right. And this is what we end up with. I'm gonna take the money. Then I got the money, and then the IRS man shows up. the robber barons show up, whether they be family members, friends, or what have you, or people who are just trying to take things from you. But if you have this thing, you build upon this thing, you expand with this thing, and then you allow it to grow and matriculate into billions and millions and then billions potential.
I mean, to that point, I mean, he was already, pretty much trying to talk about, oh well, we can get this and go. Just think about it. It's Tommy Walsh and the Colored Girl. Like,
I mean, he was selling it, man.
Yeah, he was already trying to sell and trying to get her. Like he said, he continued to try to work on her, and it was just like, nah, man, this is. It's more to this. You still thinking about the money. He's like, oh, come on, money. It's all about the money. Money is dirty anyway. All money's dirty. But like she said, I don't make deals with the devil like that. So he just kept continuing to try to tear down, that wall that she has there, because hell, we saw it, when it was just like, oh, you don't trust me? Like, what, I had a daughter of your age, and you pushing away the only boat you got and all. I mean, everything around her was like just trying to get into her mind,
pulling at her. Yeah. Now, what? So when she was in that situation, where she could have went with Will Clay, Michael K. Williams' character, or Tommy, which I mean, I was starting to feel for her. Like, man, which way do you go? Because either way, you're gonna die. Like, with at least with Tommy, he's still tied up. This other guy, you don't know at what point. So I don't know which way was y'all thinking to go.
Oh gosh, I mean, I have to say at that moment, they were trying to they were making his character Will Clay. They were making this character believable.
Yeah,
like, okay,
very believable.
I was like, okay, even I was like, I don't know what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, but the movie couldn't have gone where it needed to go.
Yeah,
if she'd have went with Clay, what's his name?
Michael K.
Williams' character. It couldn't have went, because think about it, they were gonna go, claim the reward for themselves, dead or alive. It made more sense for her to eventually not go there,
And it also gives you another example of a microcosm of a woman's life. Do you go, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and then when you're in this oppressive state, when you're in this oppressive situation, your brothers tend to take on the identity of the oppressor. So Michael K. Williams, on the surface, you got my best interest in mind, but are you gonna respect me? Are you gonna treat me like the other people gonna treat me? More than likely you are, because you've been woven into a wicked situation. We're in the midst of a crime. We're on a crime scene. The United States of America is a crime scene. It's the biggest crime scene in the history of the world. So, and we as Black men, again, let's want to say this movie was talking to our community. We as Black men need to stop adapting to the dominant culture's way of life and start uniting. But a lot of us we will much rather get rich and then destroy the sisters and then live the rich life than to come together and build the community, build out the community. So that's what I believe that section was about.
You may not ever get rich.
And I think the part that got Mo was when he said, asking her if she got her 40 acres and a mule.
Right.
When he said that, I was like, whoa, okay, maybe we maybe on the same page. And even she said, I don't know what to do, which I think it was a mistake to tell him that, because then he started to play on her more. So she was really, like back against the wall. And then he ends up pulling that whiskey out. You think she said that on purpose?
Yeah, she said that purposely, because if you continue to pour it on thick, then you a creep.
Yeah.
He continued to try to play on her from an emotional standpoint. I'm gonna keep playing this emotional heart.
What you doing?
Keep drawing you in, and he wouldn't stop. So she said, "Oh yeah, It's game.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I'm gonna tell you what an OG told me one time. He said, "I done talked myself out of more Pete than you done talked yourself into."
Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. Come on now.
You talk too much. Shut up.
Yeah, and the fact that he just like came out of the cuts, like Homer backing into the bushes, like, dude, where you even come from, man?
I was out here hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
He got a three-piece suit on.
Wall Street game immediately because game recognized game.
Right. My boy out here to dust the triple vest and everything. Like, come on, man, with a Dobbs hat. Come on, man, stop.
Right. And he pulled out that whiskey, and that's how they knew that he killed those people. Which one of the guys, he was about to die anyway.
Which it was funny because in the beginning of the movie, when she was at the bar, they showed that whiskey before they even knew who the guy was on the end. It had Mr. Fields whiskey on it, so you didn't know who the guy was until he got on the stagecoach, which I thought that was pretty clever.
Man, and that guy tried to pull a fast one, acting like he was having a heart attack. Man, I was like, man, you about to die. But as soon as he started talking, I was like, he about to be the first one to die, man. He talked
first one out.
Yeah.
So the whiskey was Mr. Fields.
Yeah, Mr. Fields
whiskey. So
whiskey.
the daddy was making whiskey and the mama was making chocolate chip cookies. And Mr. Fields whiskey and Miss Fields.
Hey, come together, baby.
They entrepreneurs.
Come together, baby. Chocolate whiskey cookies coming near you. Yeah.
Boo this man.
Let's wrap it up.
Perfect. Good.
All right. So let's get to some final thoughts and Mike rating. What did you rate it before tonight or before the show? What are you rating it after the show? Let's get back to that, and we're gonna go to Wilkes first.
Going into it, I really didn't have a rating when I look. I mean, I love westerns. I was raised watching some westerns, and this, it's good to see. Kind of, it looks like westerns. They've kind of valied. I mean, you get a few here and there. Some are good, some are great. They put a modern twist on it, but I have to give this. I know it's probably we've been giving out fives a lot, but I have to give it a 5 because there's just so much spiritual overtone in this movie, and not just the fact that it started out with her in her faith. I mean, even when she collected the bounty at the end, she said, "Even the meek will inherit the earth." So it was just she stayed fast to that, and Ben made a point today. The cross did not leave as much from different angles that the camera took. I mean, there were moments where, she was surrounded and the camera would pan out just to get an angle of the cross.
Yeah.
There were moments where she was making deals with the devil and the cross was in between them. And like H-Rap said, that tree represented a lot of different things. And, and the other thing that blew my mind is that the snow did not fall within the inner circle. It only fell around those things. It was almost like a hedge of protection. You put a hedge of protection around this hollow ground, it was just one of those things where it was just, I don't know. I just saw it in a different light when I watched it.
Within your enemies. I mean, all the guys around here, they were all dead, but that was her enemies. So, I mean, you think of Psalm 23?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you prepared the table in the midst of my enemies, I mean, save me with your right hand and smite my enemies with your left. So it's
one like a mama to me.
So it's definitely one of those movies where I have to give it a 5 just because the aspect I was pulling from it. I could be wrong, but I have to go with a 5.
Before you go to A-Trap, I'm gonna give my cousin that was in there. He said, he goes, I was waiting to hear one of you gentlemen draw a reference to our women as the tree. He goes, they are the life and death of our community.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. Yep, I did not. But
That's good,
absolutely.
That's good. You definitely need to get him on a forecast. On Queen 3 and King, one or the other. All right, H-Rap.
Oh well, I started off at a 5, and I'm with Wilkes. It has so many dual meanings and everything. It walked you through the trials and tribulations of being a woman in this country. It walked you through the trials and tribulations of being black in this country. It walked you through the temptation, evil, life, death, the protection of God. The darkness represented the faith that you need to have in bad times. The light came about. I mean, it was just so many spiritual references. It was the dictionary definition of what it is to be black, and especially a woman in this country today.
To H-Rap's point, I mean, hell, this is another side of it until H-Rap said something. That tree could have been the tree in the middle of the garden that died once man fell. I mean, once man fell, it was just like, okay, this is the tree where life had started. So, but I'll bring you back to this very point to give life. I mean, I don't, even though the tree is showing death, but it's still life within these branches. There's still waters within these roots that are buried on this mountain. Upon this rock, I will build this church, and not even the gates of hell will prevail against it. So it's just one of the movies just had so many overtones. It was just one of those movies that it was pretty big. There's a lot of things that could be taken from this movie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah. So we had talked about the movie that had the quote. This movie had a quote early on. We were free with no place to be free. And in that quote, the narrator was referring to the end of slavery. And now we have a place to be free, aware, if you will, to be free. But what I added to this is we got a place to be free, but don't know how to be free. And that's still happening to this day. So immediately I knew what my final thoughts was going to be. We got a place to be free. We got to where to be free, but we don't know how to be free still to this day. As I always do, IMDb 6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, their critic score was 88%, and their audience score was 4.5 out of 5. Which would be what would that be, an 85%?
Yeah, I think even on the website it was showing that.
No, that would be a 90%.
Rotten, that was 86.
That was the audience score, is a 90. And then Metacritic 57%. For me, I started at a 4, Mike, and that's where I ended at. When I compare this to The Harder They Fall and stuff like that, I just couldn't. It didn't quite rise to the level of a 5 to me. In fact, just based on its cinematic qualities, I would have probably given it a 3 or 3.5. I raised it to a 4 based on those undertones and those other hidden gems and meanings and stuff like that. But that's where I ended up at as a 4. I don't think it rose to the level of a 5 for me.
Yeah.
And so I'll say, really coming into tonight, I had it at a 5. And then I'm say tonight I still had it as a 5. I couldn't find any holes, any errors, anything that made it seem like, that was weird, that was off. The movie flowed, the scenery was amazing. And Letitia Wright, coming from Black Panther to this, I mean, that like amount of range, I was amazed. I didn't know she really had that in her to bring that out. And then also kind of the pieces of Kathia Williams, which in the military, her name was William Kathy or William Kathia. So they switched it. Yeah. And I mean, it was in the dialogue between her and Tommy, I felt like had so much depth to it. And now it's not comparable to The Harder They Fall, but The Harder They Fall had so many top characters in it. I think we were gonna get at a 5 regardless. This one was one person basically, and she carried the entire movie.
And then The Harder They Fall is a fictitious story about 5 separate actual individuals. So it's easier to make that a mosh posh movie that allows you to embrace different people for different reasons.
Yeah. But I feel like it rised. I mean, it rise to it. And
I have to say, I really
have to watch this movie.
Yeah, I really appreciate the suggestion because I mean there was just a lot of spiritual things that like I said, it could be just me, but I was like,
No,
man,
it's not.
this
Yeah,
is
no.
great. Like,
No, but besides the opening, I don't know what 10 minutes, the
yeah,
entire movie had the cross in the background, and I was
Mhm.
thinking, is that the same cross? And it was almost like the sun. At points, the sun was hitting it to where you can see those kind of
yeah,
wavily
oh,
lines.
yeah,
But was the cross, was part of it even a vision she was having too? I
I
mean,
just think it
actually,
was God as your North Star.
yeah. It's true. I mean, she even had, of course. I don't understand the dream she had of herself up on the hill.
that was interesting. Yeah,
I didn't really see.
I didn't
I
get
didn't.
Hey,
Uh,
peyote. So we ended we ended with a 4.75, Mike, on our cumulative score. 4.75, which is exactly where your Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot. So
yeah,
right there.
yeah. And the last thing I'll say, so I couldn't hear him. Was he telling her where the money was, or she just?
He said, "You know where it is."
yeah, he did.
Okay.
He
I
told
didn't
her
hear
where
what
it
he
was.
said.
He said your faith is where your freedom is.
Yeah.
So the
So
cross.
He didn't say, he didn't quote
say it
unquote
exactly,
tell her,
but she knew.
but he told her. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, he told. Yeah, he
So
told.
so
Oh,
in so this is the last thing I'll say in
no,
real
no.
life.
You said that was the last thing you're gonna
All right,
say.
one more thing.
This is last.
I'm getting ready to close part 2. I'm getting ready
Uh,
to close.
man, I'm going down somebody's street.
That's what Black Mama say. We getting ready to go and shit. 30 minutes later, they still standing in the
you
driveway.
got
Still waiting.
you got your coat on and you sweating. You about to pass out, nigga.
But you take that coat off if you want to.
Right.
Just
I
slap
wish
it.
you would.
Didn't I tell you we getting ready to go?
Undo
That
that
was
seatbelt
30
if you
minutes.
want to. Undo
But,
that seatbelt if you want to see what happens.
Oh yeah, say your last thing, man.
So the real Kathia Williams, she actually passed away because she had diabetes and something else, but she didn't get her pension from the military.
Military, of course
So
not.
she basically ended up whittling away, and that's how she died. So, just
Of course,
fun fact.
of course, she didn't.
I think that's why they called her Moses, because that's the same thing that happened with Harriet Tubman, and they called her Moses. I think it was a parallel.
Yeah. And Moses didn't get to see the promised land.
Yeah, they just that's how they built the Harriet Tubman Museum in New York, because they took her pension finally in about maybe 8 years ago and built that house.
And Moses Malone played with Dr. J, Julius Irvin, who played in a movie later where they called him Jesus. So another parallel. Mr. Save Pittsburgh.
One of the same out here, baby. Let's go.
What's coming up on it end of the bench tomorrow?
Oh, my bad. Let's roll it. Let's go.
Basketball. That's my favorite sport.
Tomorrow on the end of the bench, I'm gonna review the fish to save Pittsburgh. No,
oh wow,
Aquarius. This has a hyperbolic title. It's called "Be a Republican If You Want to," and that's all I'm really saying. I'm gonna leave it to the imagination. I've already received some vitriolic inboxes.
Oh man,
I need you to just tune in tomorrow.
And do you know what that means? I need to break that down? That vitriolic inbox? I don't know if your HBCU talk that. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Well, his HBCU is allegedly better than mine. Allegedly. He's at the house. But Mo Brown is the first HBCU name.
Mo Brown is Mo Brown. Just say that.
Now, Mo Brown is the first HBCU named after black man. I'm just saying.
That's something.
I'm just saying. AME Church, African Methodist Church. AME. I'm just saying.
All right, Queen Thing.
White dude. My fault.
Queen 3. More spiritual undertones. Seeing is believing. We're gonna talk about faith or the lack thereof. So it ought to be a good one. We have special guest host Derek, the Thought Engineer Smith of Man Talk Monday. he's always good for some nuggets. So that ought to be a great show. So just playing.
You got to give us that quote you left today.
Earlier today. God,
yeah, you got to give us that quote. Come on, brother.
Yeah, hang on. Give me 2 seconds. I pulled it up really, really, really quick. So that quote I left you with is your dirt doesn't excite God. That one. Your dirt doesn't excite God. Your obedience does. And that was just a word he gave me the other day. He's like, I ain't moved by your dirt.
Right.
Yeah, I knew you were dirty when you came in here.
Thank you.
It don't excite me. That don't move me. But when
your sin isn't going to outdo the next person to make me bring you into the fold.
Yeah, but when you obedient, that's what excites me. That's what get me crunk over here.
Right.
The dirt don't move me. Your obedience.
It's funny. To Doc's point, there was a sermon that I had heard years ago, and he said, in that sermon, he said, sometimes heaven will reject your praises. You don't all this hooping and hollering and slanging snot everywhere in there.
Yeah,
what is that doing to God? That's not moving anything. I mean, you try to move mountains, but if you just come humbly and come open-hearted and ready to receive, it's one of those things where, even the heavens will reject your praise sometimes.
Yeah, that's what's up. And that leads me into another piece of this that I'm on. A second part of this is going to be, I'm going to challenge.
Right.
I'm going to challenge the actions speak louder than words.
Come on.
There's a lot of folks done been saying action speaks louder than words for the longest, but from a Christian perspective, from a spiritual perspective, does it?
Right.
If actions speak louder than his words, why can't we physically move the mountain? We supposed to speak to it, but don't tune in to me tomorrow and get told nothing. I'm just telling you.
I'm just a messenger. That's real.
Yeah,
so when I saw that,
somebody might be tricking you in the actions speak louder than words to get you to move instead of speak.
Right.
Oh,
and I bet you tomorrow.
By the way, another spiritual overtone on this movie, real quick. I have to say this about this movie. It was definitely one of those, the devil on one side, the angel on one side, but it was also reminding me of bounding the devil on earth. Whatever you bind on earth,
you loosen
you loosen in heaven, you bound in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, it even reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode where the Howling Man, supposedly they had captured the devil, and somebody was tempted enough to let him go. So it was just one of those. This movie just had so many different elements to it.
I think Teddy Pendergrass talked about that. You better let him go,
man. TKO,
like another love TKO.
Man, looking back over my years, I must have shed some tears.
Looking back over my years, I must have shed some tears. Yeah, that's a bad boy. Man.
Yeah, man.
And he was singing about other boys.
Yeah, you probably will.
Yeah, lady boys.
That's all right, Catholic Church. But what's going on?
All right. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in to the forecast tonight. You know what we do every Monday, same time, 8:30 Central, bringing you a movie review, a film, documentary.
Yes.
Before I kick it to you, A-Trap, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Sheer Alternatives. Go to their website. They have all natural toothpaste, mouthwash, and they're at the farmers market every Saturday and Sunday in Dallas. And I went by there last weekend. I met with Carlos Miller. That's the guy standing right next to me, and he's there every weekend. He was also at our 4th annual award show. So definitely a solid dude. Go by there, say what's up. Even if you don't buy something, go by there, say what's up. Get a sample. I mean, they always there every weekend. So
that's what's up.
All right, A-Trap.
Before I do anything, I want to say shout out to my cousin Andrea. This is the first time she ever came in. That was her who just said hello.
Okay. Andrea,
appreciate you.
Thank you, cuz. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I didn't even send her a notification. She just popped in. Shout out to my
that's
and we did we shout out Golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life.
Phyllis and Arlene too. Sister Arlene too. So y'all know how we do it, man. SCE is for everybody. YAL. L is because I love you. LATER. See y'all later. See y'all later.